This could very well be the hidden intention of Balak. In the book of Numbers, we read of the king of Moab, Balak, who was desperately attempting to destroy the Jewish people through the curses of Bilam. Vayomer elav Balak, Lecha na iti el makom acher, asher tirenu misham. Efes katsehu tireh, v'chulo lo tireh, v'kovno li misham. Balak wants to take the sorcerer, wants to take Bilam to a place from where he will be able to see only a part, only a section of Am Yisrael. Katsehu tireh, v'chulo lo tireh. You'll see part of them, but not all of them. And then you'll be able to curse them for me. How will seeing Katsehu tireh, v'chulo lo tireh, how will that facilitate the plan of Balak? That's the very point. Those who curse others only see part of the picture. We are charged to live by the teaching of Yehoshua ben Prachya. Haveidan et kol ha'adam l'kaf zechut. Haveidan et kol ha'adam l'kaf zechut. Usually translated as judge all people favorably. Haveidan et kol ha'adam l'kaf zechut. I think that a careful reading of the Hebrew may imply another message as well. If the rabbi of the Mishnah, if the Tanah, was trying to teach us to judge everyone favorably, he could have said, Haveidan et kol adam. Notice the difference. Haveidan et kol adam l'chaf zchut, or Haveidan et kol ha'adam l'chaf zchut. I believe kol ha'adam can mean judge the entirety of the person. Kol ha'adam. In the book of Exodus, one of the 13 attributes of mercy of God, in certain rabbinic sources, we refer to this as the midot, Yud Gimel midot shel rachamim. 13 attributes of mercy of God. And surprisingly, one of them is emet. Emet means truth. One of my greatest and most beloved rabbis, Zatzal, Rav Yehoshua Schmidman, would often ask, is truth one of the attributes of mercy of God? How is truth one of the Yud Gimel Midot Shel Rachamim? Is being truthful a form of mercy? Mercy seems to imply going beyond, looking beyond the situation. Truth seems to be saying that whatever you did, you really did. That's the truth. And he very often explained to us that emet, aleph mem tav, is true mercy. For emet means totality, the total truth. There are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, but if you take the final letters as well, you know, there's mem sofit, nun sofit, tzadi sofit, pei sofit, kaf sofit. There are 27 letters in that system. The first letter is the aleph, the middle letter is the mem, and the last letter is tav. So that the concept of emet is the totality of what happened. The merciful ways of God take the entirety of the individual into consideration. What exactly is this person's aleph? What about his mem? What about his tav? Not rachok, not looking from afar, but seeing mikaro vision from very close up. When judging the generation of the Tower of Babel, we read, Vayered Hashem lirot et ha'ir v'et ha'migdal. Vayered Hashem lirot et ha'ir v'et ha'migdal. God descended to see the city and the tower. What does it mean for God to descend? God cannot see from heaven? What kind of expression is this? Vayered Hashem l'ra'ot et ha'ir v'et ha'migdal. God descends to see the tower. The teaching is not to judge people from far away. So to speak, even God comes down to look from close up what exactly is going on. Because if you follow the pathway of the brothers of Joseph, Vayiru oto merachok, that's a tragic view. And similarly, we learn in the Torah, when God is about to judge Sodom and Amorah, Sodom and Gomorrah, we read a very similar expression. Eridana ve'ereh. I will descend, I will come down to see the deeds of Sodom. God has to come down to see the deeds of Sodom? What does that mean? The rabbis teach, it means to teach us a lesson in how to judge. If God is about to judge Sodom, then God, so to speak, this is all a euphemism, but on a certain level, kiviyachol, eridana ve'ereh, not merachok, but mikarov. Am Yisrael has suffered terribly in history because so many of our enemies never took the time to try to understand us, never attempted to get close. They had rachok vision. How many confused people really believed, really thought the Jews had horns? They viewed the Jews from rachok, from far away. Can you really understand how many people there were in this world who really thought that the use of blood of murdered children was one of the most basic ingredients necessary to bake matzot for Pesach, or to prepare the wine for the Seder or Passover use? One of the most ridiculous, one of the most absurd claims in world history. How could anyone think such a thing? Just go and see how Jews bake matzot. Just go and see, study the laws of matzot. Study the teachings about matzot. Study the teachings about wine. How could anyone say such a thing? In these libels, it has something to do with the same position. Vayiru oto merachok. If only they would get close to the Jews, they would realize the greatness and the nobility of the people of God. Isaiah speaks of the day when the very nations who always viewed Am Yisrael from afar in such a negative way, the day will come, I hope this evening, when ultimately the world will see the truth. Isaiah speaks of the day when the nations, the very nations, will proclaim, we used to think of them in such a terrible, derogatory way. We saw them, and they were so repulsive to us, says Isaiah. The nations will say, this was such a repulsive nation. They seemed to be Jews were without form, or without beauty. People turned their eyes away from them. All that is because Vayiru oto merachok. They all were so far away. My great teacher and friend, Rav Eli Meir, once suggested that that's why in the reconciliation of Joseph and his brothers, after the incident where Haim lo hikiru, they couldn't recognize Joseph, after all the distance of the many years of separation, when Joseph is about to finally reveal himself to his brothers, he says as follows, Vayomer Yosef el Echav, Gishuna elai, Vayigashu. Vayomer, Ani Yosef achichem. And Joseph said to his brothers, please come closer to me. And they indeed came closer. It was at the point that they came closer to their brother that Yosef revealed the truth. I am Joseph, your brother. May we forever get closer to each other. Because if we do, and we stop looking at people from so far away, if we take the time and the effort and the energy to understand the truth about people, we will bring about the unification of Am Yisrael and ultimately the processes which will lead to Tikkun Olam. Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
We have some food. We're going to turn it on. Does everyone have a few minutes? Or? What?
We have a minute.
Yeah,
We do. If everybody stay.
Can
Everybody stay for 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes? You have 5 minutes? Let's stop. Baruch atah Adonai, shamer et amo Yisrael.